We're down here in the 210 Challenge part of the paddock, and we found Kate, who is the 210 Challenge coordinator. So, Kate, it's a really historic class. It's been going a long time. Tell us about the 210 Challenge.
Well, the 210 Challenge has been going for roughly about 28 years, and unfortunately, as time went on, the carts are spread out in different parts of the country, so we brought them all together to run a challenge. So we do run, around the country, and we try and go to, say, a lot of people live up in Wigan, we try and go up in that area, and so we dot around. And we've got us all together, and we're a successful class, although they used to call us the dinosaur class because of the Villiers engine. But that's something you'll have to ask one of the drivers about, all the, how the thing works. But there's a gentleman there that you might want to speak to afterwards. But yeah, and we're going from strength to strength, which is good. We're one of the biggest gearbox classes wherever we go now. So.
Yeah, it's a very healthy grid size, isn't it, here? And the Shenington SuperPrix is an event that you frequent.
Yes, we always do, and they have the E-plate here as well. So we're going for that one as well. And we have our O-plate. We've already had that. We had that up in Wigan. But we're basically now self-contained. We've got a steering group of about 10 of us. So we run ourselves, although we do need MSA approval, or Motorsport UK approval rather, to get our regulations passed. But we run ourselves. So if we had a meeting yesterday, we had afternoon tea yesterday, because actually Class 4 is 60 years old this year, which is where the kart originated from, although the karts we're racing now on April the 1st, 1997, they became 210 National as we know it today. So we had a bit of a birthday party, and we always have a drivers' meeting. So if the drivers, I don't know, think that the points need changing, or they'd like to go to different tracks, or then that's entirely up to them. So we run it for the drivers. So it's not, that's it really.
Fantastic. And just to correct something that I was saying before we came on, I said that this was one time you were at Shenning. You're actually back at Shenning in October.
We've got our last round in October, yes. So that'll when it'll all be finished.
Fantastic. Is there anywhere people can go to find out more about 210 National?
We've got a website. I'm going to have to let you know, whether you're going to have to cut that bit out.
A search engine of your choice.
Yeah, search engine of your choice, and you get to our website. We've got a Facebook group. 210 Challenge on Facebook, which is really successful. We get a lot of people through that. That's it.
Lovely stuff, Kate. Thanks for talking to us. Thank you. So we're here with the 210 karts, 210 class, and we've got Tony here. This is obviously yours, Tony. Tell us a little bit about the 210s.
Well, it's the oldest class going. We're celebrating 60 years of the 210 Challenge this year, so it's our celebratory year. We're the biggest gearbox grid now. With all the modern ones, we're still the biggest grid. We're a friendly concern. We help each other. It's the best class you could ever wish to race in. If you want help, your neighbour will help you.
Lovely stuff. And Shenington SuperPrix is an event that you guys frequent each year, isn't it?
Yeah, we come here every year. We have done for years. They put on a brilliant display for us. With the historic karts, because we're close to the historics, unfortunately, but we've moved on. But yeah, it's brilliant. Shenington do a wonderful job, and they always make us welcome and look after us here. It's perfect.
Lovely stuff. And just a little bit about the karts, just briefly on the gearbox and what kind of speeds can you catch in these things?
Well, at Shenington here, I should think we're probably down the back straight. We might stretch 90 if we're lucky. We're 80 anyway down that back straight. We've only got a 4-speed gearbox. That does, hold us back a little bit compared with the modern ones. They've got 5 and 6, so we have to sort of stretch our gears out a bit. And considering it was a small engine in an invalid carriage originally, I think over the years we've done a wonderful job and got them to where they are now, developing about 4 times the horsepower that they were designed for in the first place. And they're getting more reliable. What can I say more than a perfect class to be in? Yeah.
And how's your weekend going personally?
Personally, I'm having a great weekend. Yesterday we had the first heat. I won that. Unfortunately, by default, I was second, and the lad had a jump start, a 5-second penalty, and because I was on his tail, then I was in the 5 seconds, so I got there and I took first place. today wasn't quite so quick. We were a bit off the pace, but we're looking to improve things for later on and go for the final. That's the one that counts, isn't it? So.
It's the big one. Tony, we basically just mugged you whilst you were working on your car, so thank you very much for talking to us, and all the best for the rest of the weekend.
Right, yeah, thank you very much.
So the 210 Challenge out on track. This is a bit of a treat. This is a fairly unique class to see running specifically for the Teng Tools Shenington SuperPrix. They will be holding their final round here in October as well, but this is not part of, shall we say, the usual bill. Let's take you through the grid though. Chris Callaghan is on pole. Lionel Seifleet alongside. Dan Burry and Tony Burry are your second row. Third row is Wayne Cox and James Green. Then it's Adam Woodward and Peter Masson, Neil Hancock and Luke Plain to round up the top 10. Tom White and Stuart Henry on row 6. Row 7 is Chris Jarvis and Robert Perkins. Aaron Seifleet and Thomas Stone on row 8. Row 9 is Russell Hopes and Ray Sloan. And then it's Tom Smith to round out the 19 kart grid that we have for you here in the 210 national class. The 210 Challenge, as it's also known. Fantastic championship this. I had the pleasure of going down to their area in the paddock and talking to them earlier today. They've been established for a long time, have the 210 Challenge, and they're a very friendly bunch of people down there. Off the top of my head, I want to say it's 28 years that 210 Challenge has been running. I'm sure catch the interview that I had with them, including the 210 Challenge organiser. I spoke to Kate there in their paddock area, and she told us all about the championship. So we are going to go for a standing start here. Chris Callaghan, Lionel Seifleet and Dan Burry, your front row there. Line up essentially 3 abreast on this grid. As we're under starters' orders. And away we go. The number 30 of Chris Callaghan leads them away. But it's a great start from Lionel Seifleet there, and I think he's got himself into the lead as they come through Cafe Corner. In the 86, indeed he has. It's an amazing soundtrack that passes my comms position here as the 210 Challenge run their way towards the hairpin. But bear in mind that it's going to be the further hairpin, because these are the geared karts. So this is the first of the classes who will run to the far hairpin here today. It's a great start for Lionel Seifleet. And it looks like drama towards the back there for Ray Sloan in the number 82. Seems to be circulating fairly slowly. But look at this. Lionel Seifleet leads. Chris Callaghan in second. Luke Plain, Dan Burry and Peter Masson are your top 5. They stream through Cafe Corner. There's the 25 of Luke Plain, and then he's got past Chris Callaghan, in fact, because the 25 is now ahead of the 30. And now the 3 is having a go as well. That's Dan Burry having a go at Chris Callaghan, and he's got the job done, has he? They're side by side pretty much at the midpoint of the chicane. That's not too often we see that, but it does look like Dan Burry has got the job done and has got up into 3rd place. So it's now Lionel Seifleet ahead of Luke Plain in 2nd and Dan Burry in 3rd. That's further back. Robert Perkins has got past Adam Woodward to get into the top 10. Stuart Henry has got past Chris Jarvis as well for 13th place. So there are some really good battles throughout the field here in the 210 Challenge. And Lionel Seifleet has had exactly the first couple of laps that he would have dreamt of when he woke up, when he was asleep last night rather. He could be daydreaming as well. Chris Callahan has got back past the 3 though. And look at this, for the lead of the race. Not quite the dream start then for Seifert, because Luke Plain is right with him in the 25, looking up the inside of Wilkins, but it's not quite on there. Fantastic stuff side by side as they come onto the start-finish straight. Seifert versus Plain. Seifert on the inside in the 86 surely will stamp his authority on the inside of Park Bend, and he does indeed hang on to the lead. He's going to go wide though, and Luke Plain is going to try and get a good run towards the hairpin. He's going to have to go to the outside, but he's got a fantastic run. He's going to have to be under braking if Seifelt's going to hang on to it. He goes very wide, goes deep into the corner, and Luke Plain goes through and up into the lead. I should say that he was actually scored as the leader last time round by a gap of exactly nothing. Fantastic battle that between the two of them, but Luke Plain manages to gain the lead of the race. And as I did mention about a lap ago, as we cut back on the stream indeed to this, Chris Callahan has got back past Dan Burry. It's quite a gap back though to the third place battle. There it is. Don't count out Peter Masson in the number 32 as well. The 30 versus the 3 and the 32. Behind them, a battle going on between James Green in the 5, Tom White in the 2, and Aaron Seinfleet in the 68. That's the battle over 6th place. And off at that hairpin. I think that's 2 of the drivers in that battle have gone straight on there at the far hairpin and have visited the tyres. It's the first competitors we've seen doing that today. And it just got mutual. I think they just got tangled up under braking. Keep an eye on timing to confirm exactly who the 2 affected karts are. Luke Plain now has a gap of 2.7 seconds over Lionel Seifert. Side by side though is the battle between Callahan and Bury over 3rd place, and Bury's got the job done. Yeah, and it's James Green and Tom White who are dropping down the times now, so they're the 2 karts who went off, and it's allowed the 68 of Aaron Seifert to get up into 6th place. But it is indeed Dan Bury who's in 3rd now. And there's the 32 of Peter Masson chasing Chris Callahan over 4th place. Yellow flags out at the far hairpin for the 2 karts who managed to bed themselves in the tyres quite a bit. I mean, we saw the drivers, for those of you watching on the stream, we saw the 2 drivers are absolutely fine. Only their pride hurt, it would seem, but in the tyres they are. There they are, recovering the karts. That's the number 2, that's Tom White. And then the other driver is James Green, who's there. Not sure if those karts are going to be able to retake the race. It doesn't look like they are. It's a disappointment for those 2. Luke Plain still your leader by almost 4 seconds now over Lionel Seifert. And still the battle goes on between Dan Burry and Chris Callahan over 3rd place. Peter Masson in 5th place. Aaron Seifert is catching up though onto the back of these 3 karts battling over 3rd place. If you're watching on your screens, there is Aaron Seifert in the 68 getting onto the back of Peter Masson in the 32. That'll be for 5th place. Chris Jarvis has just got past Rob Perkins, that's over 10th place. And look at this, Chris Callahan round the outside of Dan Burry. Got brilliant drive there onto the new lap. So Callahan up into 3rd place. This is a race-long battle between these 2. And Dan Burry, what a brilliant run he's had. He doesn't even have to go around the outside. He's already got the job done by the braking point for the hairpin. And Dan Burry is up to 3rd place again. It strikes me that these 2 karts are strong in different parts of the lap. The number 3 seems very strong in the early part of the lap, and the 30 seems to have a pretty good run in the latter part of the lap. And I think that's what's allowing us to see this fantastic battle between the 2 of them. Peter Masson in the 32, still staying in touch with them. In 5th place. As they both put a lap on the 27th. I think that's Thomas Stone just staying out of the way for them. 6.5 seconds now, the gap that Luke Plain has in the lead of this race. But rightly so, we're staying with this battle between Dan Burry and Chris Callaghan. Who's going to take the last of these podium spots? And look at this, into the hairpin. What a move from Callaghan. These 210 drivers just seem to be able to create overtaking opportunities where there wouldn't usually be one. And Callaghan there got good drive and went around the outside of the early part of the chicane. Brilliant stuff and bold stuff there from Chris Callaghan in the number 30. Under 2 minutes plus that lap to go then. The battle for 3rd place weaves its way through. We've got a yellow flag there at the 86. Oh, Lionel Seifried is at the side of the road from 2nd place. Disappointment there for the 86. And it looks like he's just had to pull to the side of the road. That is so disappointing for our former race leader. Gutting for him. He looks very forlorn at the side of the road, and I can understand that. It means, though, that Chris Callaghan and Dan Burry are now fighting over 2nd place. 1 minute on the clock plus a lap to go. That's your leader. You'd be forgiven for having forgotten about him, to be honest, because he's been so dominant the last few laps. And now he has 8 seconds. He has 24 seconds. Timing is just updated after Lionel Seifried had to pull over to the side of the road. He has 24 seconds in hand, does Luke Plain. So we haven't had to pay that much attention to him for the last few laps, but here he is in the 25, running very, very well. And pending any disasters, looking set to take the victory here at the Teng Tool Shenington SuperPrix. This is the battle over 2nd place as they headed down the straight. Carts on various laps, the 82 there of Ray Sloan just getting out of some of the leaders' way. We're just looking at Neil Hancock and Stuart Henry, I believe, in their battle over 6th place. And that was your leader again. But we need to keep our eye out here for the battle just heading towards the hairpin now of Chris Callaghan and Dan Burry. As we're going to start the last lap this time through. Indeed we do so. Luke Plain is now on his last tour of the circuit. But who is going to take 2nd place? Because there's quite a few karts now, I think, running with a few gremlins out there to put them on various laps. There's the 86 at the side of the road. We need to keep our eye out for, and there is Chris Callaghan beginning his last tour of the circuit. So there's the 30, and there's the 3 of Dan Burry and Peter Masson as well. But already we're probably going to have to look into the final set of the lap to see our leader coming round. Such is the way in which he's been able to dominate this one. And there he is coming into Wilkins now. Good pickup from the guys on camera. There is Luke Plain coming through the last corner now. And Luke Plain will take a dominant victory in the 210 Challenge at the 2019 Teng Tool SuperPrix. But who is going to come home in 2nd place? It was a fair gap that Chris Callaghan had in hand coming on to this lap, and there he is in the number 30, and I think he's doing enough here to hold on to it. He guides the kart through Wilkins corner, and Chris Callaghan is going to take 2nd place, and we expect it's Dan Burry in the number 3. Indeed it is, who comes through to take the final podium position. Peter Masson in 4th. Adam Woodward will finish in 5th, we expect. Neil Hancock Hancock, in 6th. 7th for Stuart Henry. Chris Jarvis, Robert Perkins, and Thomas Stone round out your top 10. And then there's several carts who have had some kind of drama out there. We expect the classification to be Ray Sloan, Aaron Seifley, James Green, Tom White, Tom Smith, Tony Bury, and Lionel Seifley, of course, at the side of the road. But well done to Luke Plain. He takes a dominant victory in the 210 National. Next up, we are going to have even more geared cart action. It's going to be the 250 Nationals and the 125 KZ carts.